Hello everyone, welcome to Oliveboard. We are going to discuss the Finance Current Affairs compilation January 2026 in this particular video. So all the January 2026 Finance Current Affairs we will be discussing in this particular video. Right guys, so let's start the discussion. My name is Prateek Taldar. By qualification I'm a chartered accountant. In case if you have any query, you can join me, you can join my group on Telegram. If you type CA Prateek Finance on Telegram, you will get my group link. You can also ask me queries anytime, right? And I frequently share finance related content on that group. So we'll be doing the compilation series in a MCQ based manner. Okay, so we'll be revising all the MCQs related to the finance current affairs, right? At the same time, I'll be also telling you the crux of the finance current affairs as well. So guys, regulatory authorities periodically simplify the procedural requirements to reduce the compliance burden for the investors holding the physical securities. Under the revised framework for SEBI for issuance of duplicate securities, so SEBI has recently issued a framework related to duplicate securities, issuance of duplicate securities. Up to what value of lost or damaged securities can the investor avail a simplified documentation process? So guys, while watching this video, what you guys will be doing, whenever I'm asking you question, you need to let me know the correct answer in the comment section, right? And then I'll be proceeding ahead. So guys, here the correct choice will be option C, up to 10 lakh rupees, right? So SEBI has enhanced the simplified documentation threshold. Earlier it used to be 5 lakh, now it is 10 lakh rupees. Okay. Next one. When the physical securities are lost, stolen or damaged, the investors are required to submit certain declaration to protect the issuer and the intermediaries from the future claim. Can you also tell me which of the following documents is required to be submitted for issuance of duplicate securities when the value is within the prescribed simplified threshold? So there is a threshold. If the value is below the threshold, then no issue at all. You can get the duplicate security issued by submitting which of the following documents. So let me know in the comment section which is the document that needs to be submitted in this particular case. The document that needs to be submitted here will be option C. Standardized affidavit cum indemnity bond will be required here. So option C is the correct choice. Okay, option C is the correct choice. Next one. In order to further ease the compliance for investors holding very small value securities, the regulators have relaxed the formalities that otherwise increase time, cost for the claimants. These relaxations apply only up to specified monetary limit, for which the value of securities is notarization of the documents not required, right? So for which value of the securities the notarization concept of the documentation is not at all required, allowing submission of a simple undertaking even on the plain paper rather than via the notarization process. The correct answer here will be option B, up to 10,000 rupees. So up to 10,000 rupees, no worries at all, no need of notarization. You can even do it on a simple undertaking, that too on a plain paper, right? So this was from the SEBI simplifies the procedure for issuing duplicate securities. We can see SEBI has earlier the threshold used to be 5 lakh rupees. Now it has increased to 10 lakh rupees. A very important update that you need to remember, right? Industrial output data is closely tracked to access the short-term economic momentum and sectoral performance as well. What was the year-on-year growth rate of India's industrial production in November? Marked a 2-year high. So we are discussing the finance current affairs. So this data was released in January. That's why I'm taking this. Now we do have the new data of December. So what 3 types of data you have to remember, guys? The data, the monthly data just before your exam. Just before your exam, right? The financial year end ka data, and in case if there is any kind of sudden spike or sudden decline in the data, then you need to understand the data plus the driving reason as well for that particular concept, right? So here the answer will be 6.7%, but the new data is available, so better you need to cover the new data, which we have already done in the weekly session of the finance current affair. Next one, infrastructure investment trust important are increasingly used as a vehicle to monetize the operational infrastructure assets and attract long-term capital. Recently, a regulatory approval was granted to a public INVIT linked to national highway assets. What is the name of the public infrastructure trust proposed by the NHAI that received the regulatory approval? Important for the examination. Important for the examination. Here the correct choice will be option C, Rajmarg Infra Investment Trust. This is important question. Okay, so SEBI has given nod to the public INVIT, and Rajmarg Infra Investment Trust has actually started the operations as well. Next one, the asset quality indicator are key component of banking sector health assessment. A sustained decline in stressed asset reflects improved credit discipline and recovery mechanism. Can you tell me, as per the report on trend and progress of Reserve Bank of India, which was recently released, right? Report on trend and progress of banking in India 2025 for the financial year 2025. What was the approximate gross NPAs, GNPAs? We know that first we do have GNPAs, then we account for the provisions, and then we do have NNPA, net NPA, right? So what is the concept of NPA? Non-performing asset. This particular asset is not performing at all, and that's why we have to create certain provision, right? So loans and advances given by a bank are the assets for the bank. Now, if those loans and advances are not performing well, then we need to create a provision for that, right? Then we need to create a provision for that. So the GNPA figure is option D, 2.2%. Okay, 2.2% is the correct choice. Next one, profitability ratio. Can you also tell me about the return on equity, which is a profitability measure? How much return you are able to earn on equity, as highlighted in the trend and progress assessment. So ROE stands for return on equity. Return is on equity. So you don't have to remember the formula. It is nothing but a ratio which states that how much return we are able to earn for the equity shareholders, right? So the return is nothing but profit, and the profit is not net profit. It is the earnings which is available for equity shareholders, or the profitability which is available for equity shareholders after paying interest, after paying all the operating expenses, after paying for the cost of goods sold, after paying taxes, after paying preference dividend. This is called as the earning available for equity shareholder, and the correct answer here will be option C. 13.5% is the correct choice. Okay. So these data is from the report on the trend and progress of banking in India. We have covered it in a very detailed manner. You can check out the report detailed video as well for the best understanding. Okay. Next one, by what amount did the net claims of non-resident on India decline during the period, during the recent period? The data was 38.4 billion US dollar, but you have to remember the data just before your examination. Okay, so I'm just telling you what kind of question might come in the examination. Bond market responds sensitively to changes in the liquidity condition and the monetary policy signals. The relationship between the bond prices and the yield is fundamental to understanding the debt market movement. How do bond yields generally move in relation to the bond prices? This is not a finance current affairs question, but it is related to a static concept, right? So I think we have done a lecture on flattening of the yield curve, right? It's a very important concept of your bond market, and this is a static part. So here the correct choice will be option C. They move inversely to each other. Okay, they are moving inversely to each other. So bond prices and bond yield do have an inverse relationship. Next one, relationship between bond yield and overall interest rates, overall market interest rates. Any idea about this one? The correct choice here will be option B. Bond yields are again moving inversely as compared to the market rates. Okay. Next one is related to the SDQI data. So the SDQI data was also recently released related to September 2025. Can you tell me the overall SDQI score for the scheduled commercial banks? For the scheduled commercial banks. The overall SDQI data for the scheduled commercial bank is option D, 90.7%. Okay, 90.7% is the overall data. Option D is the correct choice. Next one. Can you also tell me the parameter which recorded the highest SDQI score in the assessment? This is again simple as well as relevant. So we all know it is completeness, right? The last time also completeness parameter is there. I will say most of the times it will be outperforming in terms of completeness parameter only. Which category of the bank recorded the highest SDQI score? So with respect to all these banks, which one is the highest performer in case of SDQI score, guys? That's the small finance bank. Okay, so small finance banks are outpacing the other category of the banks in terms of high SDQI score. Next one, within the SDQI framework, delay in submission of the or the late reporting of the supervisory data is captured under a specific parameter. Can you tell me the instance of delay in data submission? Let's suppose a bank is not able to submit the data timely, are primarily captured under which SDQI parameter? If you are not able to submit it on a time basis within the due date, obviously it will relate to the timeliness, right? It will relate to the timeliness. So this was the data related to SDQI. This is the September 2025 data. Earlier we used to have June data. Now we do have a September data, right? Next one, guys. Which entity became India's first maritime NBFC to begin lending operations? So recently only this NBFC has started doing the business as well in the maritime zone. Which NBFC becomes the first NBFC, maritime NBFC? This is very, very important. Okay, high chances that this question can be there in your general awareness section. The correct choice is Sagarmala Finance Corporation Limited, option D. Okay. So this is the India's first maritime NBFC. SMFCL, Sagarmala Finance Corporation Limited, has started lending operations officially. Next one is related to a SEBI circular. SEBI has recently revised the regulatory framework for the merchant bankers, right? Can you tell me the category 1 merchant banker? There are two types of categories, category 1 and category 2. The category 1 merchant banker are required to meet a revised net worth norm, right, by a specific deadline. What is the minimum net worth category for the category 1 merchant banker? And they need to achieve it by 2nd of January 2027. So what is the bare minimum limit they have to achieve by 2nd of January 2027? Option D is the correct choice. Okay, 25 crore is the net worth requirement here. What is the percentage minimum required net worth that must be maintained as a liquid net worth? So out of the net worth, you need to maintain liquid net worth also, right? What is the percentage for that? Now these questions from the SEBI circulars are very, very important for the SEBI examination plus for the RBI Grade B examination also. RBI loves to ask question around SEBI circulars. Okay. What will be the correct choice here, guys? The correct choice here will be option D. 25% should be the liquid net worth. Whatever your net worth is, out of that 25% should be your liquid net worth. Next, SEBI has strengthened the governance norms for alternate investment funds by prescribing a minimum standard for the key personnel. Can you tell me what has SEBI mandated for the key personnel of alternative investment funds, of alternative investments fund? That's NISM certification, which is very relevant here, and we have covered the merchant bankers direction in this particular video, right, related to finance current affairs. You can definitely check out that. Okay, and here are the limits that I have already stated, and these are the revised limits that can be important for your examination perspective. Okay, next one, under the revised prudential norms, RBI related to the non-banking financial companies prudential norms on capital adequacy. The RBI has provided differentiated risk weights for NBFC infrastructure lending based on the repayment progress of the borrowers. These measures aim to incentivize disciplined repayment behavior and improve the asset quality as well. What is the applicable risk weights? Risk weights for the loan to high quality infrastructure project where at least 2% of the sanctioned project debt has been repaid. When at least 2% of the sanctioned project debt has been repaid, then in that case, what will be the risk weight applicable to such a kind of NBFC, where the NBFC has given a loan to a high quality infrastructure project? That is option D, 75%. Okay, and if the NBFC has paid at least 5% of the sanctioned project debt, it is 50%, right? So in case if you paid 2% of the loan, then in case if the borrower has paid 2% of the loan, then NBFC will be taking the risk weight as 75. But if, say, for example, the borrower has paid 5% of the sanctioned loan, then it is quite less risky as compared to the earlier one, because borrower has paid more and more. So I will say 50% here will be the correct choice. Okay, as a risk weight it is assigned. So we have covered this news as well, right? This is a part of your RBI circulars, right? Deposit insurance play a crucial role in maintaining depositors' confidence in financial stability. The Deposit Insurance and Credit Guarantee Corporation periodically reports coverage levels in terms of the number of accounts insured. Over what percentage of bank accounts were insured at the end of financial year 2025? This was a data related to the deposit insurance, which was recently released by DICGC, Deposit Insurance Credit Guarantee Corporation, a wholly owned subsidiary of Reserve Bank of India. That's a wholly owned subsidiary of Reserve Bank of India, right? So what will be the correct choice here, guys? And the correct choice here will be option E, 97%. Okay, 97% is the correct choice here. Next one, in terms of value. Now here we are talking in terms of volume or the percentage or the number of bank accounts, right, which are insured. But in terms of value, what was the number? What was the percentage of the total accessible deposits? It was just 41.5%. Okay, 41.5% was the number. Next one. The RBI has issued revised norms on related party transaction to strengthen the governance and reduce the conflict of interest as well. What is the regulatory treatment of existing related party transaction that do not comply with the revised norms? That do not comply with the revised norms. If they do not comply with the revised norms, then the option D will be correct, allowed to continue till the maturity without any modification. So you can continue that related party transaction, no worries at all, but only till maturity, and you won't be modifying it. After that, you need to comply with the new provisions related to RBI. Loan to deposit ratio, a key indicator of banking system liquidity. Persistently high LDR levels primarily indicate what? Primarily indicate what? They are primarily indicating liquidity stress, right? Loan to deposit ratio primarily indicates stress. Now the next one is digital payments in India have continued to expand rapidly, right? So if we specifically talk about the UPI transaction volume, it rose by around what percentage, and in the terms of transaction value, the increase was by what amount? This data is related to December 2025 month. And the correct choice here will be, guys, option A, 29% and 20% respectively. Right, 29% and 20% respectively. Next one, to strengthen the oversight and governance of payment system, a new regulatory body has been constituted under the RBI framework. This body is responsible for policy direction and supervision of payment system operator. How many members does the payment regulatory body consist of? How many members does the payment regulatory board consist of? It consists of 6 members. Okay, it consists of 6 members, right? Next one. In recent years, the Reserve Bank of India has been expanding the use case of its central bank digital currency to improve efficiency in the retail payments. Which bank has integrated the RBI's central bank digital currency, also known as the digital rupee, into its merchant payment platform, which is also called as Smart Gateway? Which bank has integrated the RBI's central bank digital currency, also known as digital rupee? So the name of the bank was HDFC Bank, right? HDFC Bank has recently integrated the digital rupee in its Smart Gateway merchant platform. Next one, which bank was the first in India to launch a solar powered ATM van? A bank has recently launched India's first solar powered ATM van, and this is going to be very, very important for the examination from the general awareness point of view. And the correct choice here will be, guys, option B, Tripura Gramin Bank. Tripura Gramin Bank. So we have discussed that Tripura Gramin Bank has launched the India's first solar powered ATM van, right? Next one. India's retail inflation rose to what level in December 2025, marking the highest reading in 3 months? So we have seen an increasing trend in the inflation. It is very well within the control of RBI, but in the recent times we have seen a increasing trend. So December 2025 ka CPI retail inflation was 1.33%. Okay, and what about the food inflation, guys, in the same period, in the December period, because we are doing the finance current affairs of January month? So all the data which was released in January related to the December month will be covered in the session. You can also refer the latest data as well, which is related to January 2026 in the recent finance current affairs session. So what will be the correct choice here, guys? The correct choice will be minus 2.71%. So it is in the negative territory. This is in a deflationary stage. Okay, this is in a deflationary stage. Next one, India witnessed a increase in the headline inflation. What combination best explain the increase in the headline retail inflation in 2025? So this is about the driving reasons of the inflation data. What were the driving reasons behind the inflation? What are the driving reasons behind the inflation? The driving reasons behind inflation is slower pace of food price deflation along with the firm core inflation. Okay, option C is the correct choice here. So, slower pace of food prices deflation along with the firm's core inflation was the reason. Acha, tell me the new base year for consumer price index. The CPI index is now 2024. Okay, option E, 2024 is the new base year for CPI. Foreign banks often enter into agreements with Indian banking system through wholly owned subsidiary operations, right? In January 2025, a major Japanese bank received such a kind of approval. So, which Japanese bank got approval in January 2025 to establish a wholly owned subsidiary in India? To establish a wholly owned subsidiary in India. The name of the bank was SMBC, okay, SMBC, Sumitomo Mitsui Banking Corporation of Japan. Next one. The dividend distribution by the banks is regulated to ensure the capital adequacy and capital retention for the risk absorption purpose and future growth as well. Recently, RBI has relaxed the ceiling on the dividend payouts for the scheduled commercial bank. RBI has increased the dividend payout limit to what percentage of net profit? RBI has increased the dividend payout limit to what percentage of the net profit? And the correct choice here will be, guys, option A, 75% is the new limit, can be important for the exam. Next one. Global multilateral institution regularly revises the growth rate. So, what is the new growth rate as per World Bank estimate for the India's GDP growth projection for financial year 2026? It is pegged at 7.2%. Okay, 7.2%. Next one. In order to exchange market discipline and standardize the conduct among the participants in the foreign exchange market, the central bank has adopted a framework, right? The SRO framework. Which organization has been formally recognized under this framework for authorized dealer in the Forex market? So, recently in the Forex market, a new SRO has been assigned by Reserve Bank of India. And what is your homework for today is, you guys will be stating the SROs and the respective category for which the SRO is assigned by the Reserve Bank of India. So, try to mention as many names as you can. Okay, try to mention as many names as you can in the comment section. So, give me the name of different SROs plus the category for which they are assigned. Here the correct answer is Foreign Exchange Dealer Association of India. Okay, option B, Foreign Exchange Dealer Association of India, right? This is the correct choice here. So, RBI has recognized FEDI as an SRO for the authorized dealers recently. To improve the efficiency and reduce the funding cost, SEBI released a regulatory proposal for a specific investor category. Which category of investor is proposed to be allowed same day fund netting in the cash market? In the cash market, same day fund netting. This can also be important. And the correct choice here will be option C, foreign portfolio investors. Okay, option C, foreign portfolio investors. Next one, while proposing operational relaxation to reduce liquidity strain, the regulator has also retained safeguards to prevent misuse of settlement mechanism. Certain transaction structures are deliberately kept outside the scope of netting to address the risk concern. In the proposed framework, netting does not apply to which of the following transaction behavior. So, you can do netting, but it is not allowed in buying and selling of the same security and within the same settlement cycle. So, you can't buy the same security within the same settlement cycle. We have discussed this concept in a very detailed manner in the regular finance current affairs session, right. Next one, expert committee has been constituted by PFRDA to design a framework for what aspect of the NPS. So, recently only a committee has been constituted. Can you guys tell me the purpose of constituting that committee? It is for the assured payout planning related to the NPS, right. Next one, which NBFC has recently secured 350 million from IFC and ADB under a framework? Now, the whole idea was combining the long-term capital and sustainability objectives. So, recently an NBFC has secured a $350 million commitment from IFC and ADB. The correct choice, guys, here will be option E. Piramal Finance Limited is the name of the NBFC. Okay. Next one. As artificial intelligence models increasingly rely on the high quality curated data, content owners are exploring structured monetization models. A major global knowledge platform has entered into such a kind of arrangement with the leading technological firms. Which organization has recently entered into such a kind of arrangement? For the AI training purpose, this organization is going to share paid content. The name of the organization is Wikimedia Foundation, which is a part of Wikipedia only. Okay. Next one can be important. India's renewable energy financing institutions are expanding their footprint beyond the domestic boundaries as well by supporting clean energy project abroad. This marks a strategic shift towards global climate finance participation. The IRDAI Global Green Energy Finance IFC Limited has sanctioned its first international green energy loan. For which project? For which project this loan was sanctioned? For the project of option A, Zambia solar project. Okay. Next one. What was the total FDI inflow which was attracted in the past 6 months as reported? So now you don't have to remember this data. Why? Because you will be having a new one when your examination will be there. So, just have an idea, like in the past 6 months we were having an FDI inflow of close to 51 billion USD, but keep it on a lighter note only. Next, long-term pension planning initiatives increasingly aim to inculcate the saving behavior from an early age. In line with this approach, detailed operational guidelines have been issued for a pension-linked product targeted at minors, which scheme has been notified recently through detailed guidelines for this particular purpose. So, for this purpose, the detailed guidelines which were released were NPS Vatsalya Scheme Guideline 2025. Cross-border payments inefficiencies and reliance on the intermediary currencies have promoted the discussions on the alternative settlement mechanism, right? Who has proposed linking CBDC of BRICS nation to facilitate smoother cross-border transactions? So, it's none other than Reserve Bank of India. Reserve Bank of India has proposed linking the CBDC, central bank digital currency of different BRICS nation to facilitate a smoother cross-border transaction, right? Acha, tell me this one, by what percentage did India's core sector output is growing by in the December month by year on year basis? In the December 2025 month, what was the percentage growth rate of India's core sector output. The correct choice here will be, guys, option C, 3.7%. Next one. What is the revised PSL target for the small finance bank if we talk about the ANBC? So recently only RBI has also released the new PSL guidelines, right? That's an amendment, not a new complete guideline. Those are certain amendments that we need to know. And the percentage for the small finance bank is now 60%. Earlier it used to be 75% and now it is 60% only, right? So these are the key areas that you need to know. I'll be coming out with a detailed video as well related to the priority sector updates. Next one. International financial institutions continue to support the state level reforms in the social sector through targeted programmatic lending. A recent approval focuses on systemic healthcare improvement in an Indian state. What is the amount which was approved by World Bank for the healthcare reform in West Bengal? So this was a part of targeted programmatic lending, right? It was a part of the entire program basically. So the amount approved by World Bank was 286 million USD. Keep it on a lighter note only. Okay. Next one. From which date the RBI Integrated Ombudsman Scheme 2026 is going to be applicable? So recently a detailed guideline related to Integrated Ombudsman Scheme was released. We have covered it on YouTube, so you can watch that video as well. And that guideline is going to be applicable from 1st July 2026, right? 1st July 2026. To supplement the existing government health benefit, a new insurance plan was launched. The name of the newly insurance launched program plan was Paripurna Mediclaim Ayush Bima. Okay, option B. Next one. Public sector banks are increasingly leveraging their shared infrastructure, right? So recently NPCI Beam Services Limited will provide UPI payment, that was the news, to which bank? To the Canara Bank. Okay, option C, Canara Bank. Tell me the GDP growth rate that the World Bank has projected for India for the financial year 2026. For the financial year 2026. The correct answer here is 7.2%. Okay, option D, 7.2%. Acha, what is the GDP growth rate given by the IMF? The projected GDP growth rate of India given by the IMF for the financial year, for the same financial year 2026, it was 7.3%. So World Bank 7.2%, IMF 7.3%, right? Next one. To support the exporter and improve competitiveness in the global market, a financial support mechanism has been operationalized as a part of broader export promotional framework. What is the nature of financial support provided under the Niryat Protsahan component of the export promotion mission? Can be important for the exam. And the correct choice here will be, guys, interest subvention. Okay, interest subvention. So in the Niryat Protsahan, we have seen that you'll be getting an interest subvention, right, specifically for the exporters. What will be the interest subvention amount here? Sorry, percentage here. The rate of interest subvention applicable on the eligible rupee export credit. The correct choice here will be, guys, option D, right? Option D, 2.75% per annum is the correct choice. Next one. To prevent concentration of benefits and ensure wider coverage among the small exporter, the scheme imposes a monetary ceiling linked to exporter identification norm. The cap applies uniformly across lending institution during the financial year. What is the maximum benefit cap per MSME exporter during the financial year 2026 under this scheme? And the correct choice here will be option E, 50 lakh per IEC. 50 lakh rupees is the amount, right? So this also we have seen in the Niryat Protsahan. What is the primary benefit to provide MSME the TREDS facility? It is nothing but for the payment received, payment against the receivables before the actual date of delivery. So actual date of payment. So let's suppose if I am an MSME, I'll be receiving the amount after 6 months. I have sold something to someone on credit basis. I'll be receiving the amount after 6 months. Now I can get this discounted. That's the benefit of trade receivable discounting system. Next one. India's trade receivable ecosystem has evolved to address the delayed payment faced by the MSME through digital platforms. Which entity recognized as India's first trades platform, which has also recently declared an interim dividend, right? So this becomes the India's first trades platform to declare a dividend. And the name of the entity was option A, RXIL Receivables Exchange of India Limited. Okay, next one. Compliance requirements for export transaction includes timely submission of the documents to the authorized dealer. These timelines vary depending on whether the goods or services are exported, within what time limit, within what time period must the export declaration form be submitted for the export of goods and for the export of services. So this is not about goods, this is about services. So if you are exporting the services, then within what time limit the export declaration form is to be submitted. That is to be submitted within 30 days from the end of the invoice month, right? Within 30 days. Next one. Foreign exchange regulation prescribe the time limit for realization of the export proceeds to ensure external sector discipline. These timelines are subject to certain extensions and conditions also. What is the typical maximum time allowed for realization of the export proceeds from the date of shipment or from the date of invoice? Guys, the correct choice here will be option D, 15 months. Okay, 15 months, and this is going to be important. Okay. Next, entities operating in specialized financial jurisdiction require regulatory approval before offering the payment services. Recently, which entity became the first AD category 2 entity to receive in principle approval for PSP approval at the GIFT IFSC? And the correct choice here will be option B. EBIX Cash World Money is the first AD category 2 entity to receive such a kind of approval. Multilateral development banks continue to support the state level infrastructure and water security initiatives in India. Which state is the beneficiary of the World Bank approved Jal Sanrakshit project assistance of 5,700 crore? The name of the state is Haryana. Okay, Haryana is the name of the state. Next, to strengthen the flow of institutional credit to small businesses, the government has approved capital support for a key development finance institution. What is the amount of equity infusion approved by the Union Cabinet to SIDBI? To SIDBI can be important. What is the equity infusion announced for SIDBI here? For SIDBI, the equity infusion is 5,000 crore. Okay, 5,000 crore is the infusion. Next, subnational financial trends are closely monitored to assess the overall public finance sustainability. Recent data indicates an expansion in the consolidated deficit position of the states. According to the RBI data, states' consolidated fiscal deficit widened to what percentage of the GDP in financial year 2025 can be important. The correct choice here is, guys, option E, 3.3%. Okay, 3.3% is the correct choice. Next one. Fiscal support mechanism for from the central government can influence borrowing behavior of the state. Certain schemes encourage the higher capital spending while affecting the deficit indicators as well. What was the key driver behind the widening of the state fiscal deficit? So we have seen a state fiscal deficit at 3.3%. What is the driving reason for this? Important. This is also important. Okay. The correct choice here will be option C, higher borrowing by the states. So it was driven because of the higher borrowing of the state. What was the level of the capital expenditure? What level of capital expenditure have the state budgeted for 2026 as a percentage of GDP? As a percentage of GDP. The correct choice here will be 3.2%. Okay, 3.2%. Next one. What data sets are going to be proposed to be included in the India's quarterly GDP estimate? So this is also going to be an important question, and we have seen that GST, e-Vahan and natural gas consumption data is going to be incorporated in the quarterly GDP data. Next one, India digital public infrastructure is increasingly being adopted internationally. So a pilot initiative has also been done. In which country the UPI is said to be trialed during financial year 2026. So the country is Japan. Next one can be important. Recently RBI has signed an MOU for the cooperation and exchange of information, and this is related to the central counterparties. This is related to the central counterparties. The correct answer here is European Securities and Market Authority, right? ESMA. Then after the pause, the regulator has again sought stakeholders' review on opening a licensing in a specific banking segment. Which is the one? Which is the one? That's the urban cooperative banks, right? Urban cooperative banks. And a specific category has been restricted under the new framework. What has the RBI banned for bullion imports under the revised Forex rules? So RBI has recently revised the Forex rules. What was the banning, right? What has the RBI actually banned for the bullion import? So RBI has banned the advance remittances. Okay. So thank you so much, guys. I hope this session was useful to all of you. We have revised the finance current affairs of the January 2026 month. Thank you so much for attending the session, and in case if you are looking for any kind of paid course, then you can check out the AIR 101 mentorship batch for RBI Grade B 2026 preparation. Okay, thank you so much. Bye bye. Take care. See you soon in some other video.